voice every day to the world and to your heart. Open up your eyes and let your spirit start. Say yes to the dreams you hold inside. Let your soul be your guide.
Thank you for joining us today for another episode of Wednesday Wisdom. You are in for a treat because we have the incredible Darius Bryant. He is a mortgage advisor with Get Wealth by Mortgage, empowered by Edge Home Finance. Darius, thank you so much for being here with us today, and we cannot wait to learn from your incredible insights and wisdom. And to kick us off, we always start the podcast with the same question, which is, we go through life, we learn lots of great pieces and nuggets of wisdom, whether it's things we learned from our parents, things we learned from our clients, things we may have read. And those little nuggets kind of sit with us and shape us as we are going through our lives. So Darius, we'd love to hear from you. What is a piece of advice that you have taken to heart, and how have you applied that to your life?
That's a great question, Laura. So much to unpack there. I feel like I've learned a lot along the way, but as it pertains to this business, the truth is something that is one of the best commodities that you could have. And I tell people, no matter if they're well qualified or if they're looking for down payment assistance, we're going to get to the truth of your situation with respect to you getting approved. And we're going to, once we understand what that is, we're going to get you a plan to achieve that. So in the best advice that I've received in becoming a loan officer, a little over a decade, is seek the truth, tell the truth, and tell it with dignity. Tell it with, whether it's good news or bad news, but you're going to help people we'll go from point A to B just by pointing out with what's true, with what's going on in their finances. So, that's my approach to every loan and every person I deal with is we're gonna get to the truth, and we're going to speak the truth in love.
Darius, so powerful, so powerful. And as you're speaking, I'm kind of processing this in my brain, and I'm picturing, we all know when you're working with a family, they're exposing everything to us, right? Every decision they've made, every thought they've had, like that decision to go out and buy the car that maybe the payment was a bit too high, or maybe the credit card got a little too close to that limit, or maybe, I struggled to save, right? Because you're living paycheck to paycheck, or whatever the situation is. And when you speak about that truth, there is nothing to be ashamed of, right? You mentioned having dignity, right? Doing it with dignity. Yeah. And I want to hear more about that. I want to hear more about, because these families come to us and they expose their entire lives to us. And there are times where maybe not everybody is giving them that dignity, to get to that truth. So how do you go about that?
Yeah, a lot of people, you can tell, I applaud them for entering into the process of getting a home, because we're going to see everything. But during the conversation, I could tell when people just trying to be guarded, like, I don't know if I'm going to apply, but I want to see if I can get a home. And I tell them, I says, look, let's look at the good, the bad, and the ugly, whatever's there. And I let them know as a lender that I am not going to say, hey, call me back when you get this fixed. I don't mind. Let's looking at what it is, and I can maybe help you get to point B if it's required. But many times people, when there's some fear of wanting to have their credit pulled, or do you really need to see my bank statements? I let them know. It's okay. We're going to look at it. And if it's good, good. If it's bad, it's okay. We'll be able to work around problems that we can see, but let's not hide anything. So it's really, that approach is just to get them to drop their guard and be comfortable with sharing everything, because it's really hard to prescribe a solution when you are hiding the problem, right?
Absolutely.
So it's getting them to drop their guard, and in that process, you build trust,
Yeah.
right? And that's where I feel like being an advisor in this business comes into play, because you can get them to drop their guard, establish that trust, and then whatever's there, you're not abandoning them. You're able to say, here's the plan of how to get you into that house, whether it's in the next 30 days or the next 3 months.
Or
We'll
3 years. Or
Yeah.
3 years, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay. And you know, that word dignity is so powerful because so many times, you know, people are making, you know, it's almost like you're wearing your FICO score on your chest, right? It's kind of like
Right,
I'm
right.
an 800.
Right.
Oh, you're a 600. Oh, you're a
Yeah.
570. Oh, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
That's not how it
No.
works, right? Every
No.
family has a story, whether it's the
Yes.
800, the 600, the 570, whatever it is, right? Everyone has a story. And we are not, by
Yes.
any means, we have no right to judge anyone and their story,
No.
right? And Darius,
That's right. That's right.
I want to hear about Get Wealth by Mortgage. Tell me a little bit about what Get Wealth by Mortgage means. How do you, you know, approach that? I absolutely love that, you know, like that, the way you're coming at it. I love it. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So, you know, I was thinking a name of how to brand myself. And when I was thinking, I'm in the mortgage industry. And when you look at the Latin root word of mortgage and amortization, it's death. So mortgage has that, it's the Latin word mort, you know, and it's a death pledge is what it is. Amortization, amort. It's basically a lifetime worth of debt. So
Darius, you've educated us, but I don't like that.
Yeah, you don't like that, right? But the I guess the paradox of it is you can get wealth through this process, right? Own the home, get a house, and the process is to well, let me even back up. I think I just gave you where my mindset was on the Latin words of mortgage and amortization. I probably didn't need to say that, but you know, I live my life through a context of my being a Christian, right? And I look at that like it's from death to life. And when I was doing that play, when I was just for whatever reason, I saw that the root words of mortgage and the root words of amortization, I was like, but good can come out of it, right?
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, owning that house is the pathway to obtaining that asset that could potentially lead
100%.
you into getting some wealth, right?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, Darius, you said you've been in this industry for a decade. Okay. So a decade, we're at 2015. Is that exactly when you started, or was it like
Yeah, it was a little by 2014.
Okay, 2014. Okay. So let's just take that amount of time, right? And I've been in the mortgage industry longer than that. So let's just take the last 11 years. We know, you and I know, anyone that bought a house in 2014 or 2015, we know the amount of equity and the wealth that has been accumulated just in the amount of time that you've been doing this. Forget about the people that have been in their homes as long as I've been doing it. Yeah. So we know the fastest way to generate, not even just your own wealth, generational wealth is through home ownership.
100%. 100%. You know, I looked at, this was some years ago, but there was an article that the average American has about $300,000 worth of equity in their home, especially in that time frame. You're talking about 2014, 2015. In a short amount of time, they're sitting on that much money, you know, and I've seen, and I'm sure you've seen this too. I have seen people take equity out of their house and buy a car, right? I don't advise that at all. But if you're sitting on that much money, what happens if you have a business idea or you want to invest in more real estate? You know, you can have a plan for that money. and that's another part of Get Wealth by Mortgage is you're buying an asset that's going to appreciate in value, right? And plan for it out. Plan how you could use. What if you had access to $120,000, right?
Yeah.
What would you do with it? That's your part. My part is I've got the vehicle, I've got the loan product that can help you get to it so that you can go out and get that dream. Whether it's you want to buy another investment property, whether you want to take it and invest it in a business, that's up to you. But yeah, that's another aspect of Get Wealth by Mortgage is to
it's
start thinking
brilliant.
in those terms.
It's brilliant. I love the name. I love the concept. It's so smart. And I'm going to share a story with you. So last year I had a speaker. She's a brilliant economist come to one of my MBA New Jersey events. And she was up on stage and she was, speaking about the economy and all this different stuff, right? And somebody asked her a question, right? Someone stood up. It was all mortgage people, and they stood up and they said, "Listen, what I want to know is, how are our kids and our grandkids going to be able to afford a house with,
Yes.
not being able to save and have the down payment?" And she literally stood there, like, I'll never forget this. Woman stood there and she goes, "Oh, I have the answer." And she pointed the finger back at all of the people in the audience. And she said, "I'm going to tell you. And what you should be telling your clients, the answer is you guys are sitting on that equity. You guys bought your homes 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever it is.
Oh.
And you know what? You need to then help your kids or your grandkids or whoever it is. And you need to be able to pass that generational wealth onto
That's
them
right.
so they can continue the home ownership cycle." And I was, ever since that woman said it, I was like, we should be coaching people on that. We should be prepping people so that as their kids are coming into their 20s or getting out of college, getting those first jobs, all that, helping them to, technically, you got the refi from the parents, and then you got the purchase on the kid, and you're able to actually help the whole family.
That's right. That is 100% right. It's 100% right. It's so overlooked, and you have a lot of voices out there. You can rent, and you're still going to have to buy a home. If you're going to rent, go buy a rental property. Like you're not going to get around that. But that is so true, and it's kind of like a crusade. Like I tell a lot of people. Depending on the real estate agent who I'm working with, let's get you out of this renting mindset. There's so many other things that's out there. I mean, I can get into it. I mean, you got hedge funds wanting to buy whole neighborhoods that you can just rent. They're the landlords.
And those prices, and those rent prices just keep.
Yeah. And those hedge funds are taking your slot. That should be you owning that house, and yeah, that's so good, Laura. That's so good.
I'm telling you, but it ties beautifully into your Get Wealth by Mortgage. Like it kind of like ties perfectly into that. And I love your crusade. I love your mission. And I have to ask you, Darius. So we start with the same question and we end on our same question. So I'm going to ask you the end question. Okay. So what we like to do is I believe, right? I'm someone that believes that when we speak things out into the world, it's the first seed into something beginning. And so I always ask our guests at the end, if I had my magic wand that you had no limitations, that you could make something occur, you could accomplish something, and it doesn't have to be tied to mortgage. It can, but you could do anything. What would you do? What would be that planting of the seed of something you would want to see occur in your lifetime that if you had no limitation?
Oh my God, Doris.
I know it's a big question.
A big one, because you know what? The truth is, I'm being recorded, so I'm going to give that noble answer. And now I'm like even wrestling within myself. You would ask for like $1 billion, right? So let's just take that to the side. And
Listen, I'm okay with the $1 $1 million as long as you tell me what you're using it for. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, no, and that's it. So, okay, so if I had a magic wand and
Yeah.
I could, I'm conflicted. My personal dream would be I want to get into uh, real estate investing
Okay.
because I think there are some people that's hurting out there. And hey, I know of some people, they they'll rent out their homes to people that are hurting. It's like
Wow.
they give them part of me would like to be able to do something like that where I have some properties and if I have one or two that's going to help people for a span of time get on their feet,
A
I would love to do
temporary.
that.
Yeah, like a temporary bridge to get them through a difficult. Gotcha.
Yeah, but now if I've got a magic wand that could be like anything, I would want to say it would have to do with if I could change people's uh, give them a perception. I got to think about how to word this because we're so much in a society where we look at things through a lens of an adversary, right? And there's just looking at the objective truth. I would like a place where all of the noise, people have the wisdom to just kind of push the noise to the side
You get
and
it.
see things for what they are, and then make their evaluations on that based on what they see.
So kind of taking out the noise and the distraction
Yeah,
and just seeing
take
things through the lens of what it is. Not through a filter. Not through a
yeah,
filter.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it brings a certain clarity that I would say I think is lacking, in my opinion, in society. But we could see things for what they are, have discussions about it, and just move from there. But
I think that is a very brilliant seed to plant. I
yeah,
would
yeah,
absolutely love to see that. But
yeah.
all I'm going to say back to you is it only takes one to start. So
Oh,
you have that ability already.
oh Lord, thank you. Yeah, thank you. I, it was on a whim. I don't. I was getting up one morning and I saw your message. I said, "Yeah, let me do it." I had no idea. Then I looked you up. I followed you on social media, and I was like, I got excited. But then again, I was like, it's probably a bot. It's probably spam.
No,
It's
it's
not going to
not.
happen. Oh
Nope.
my goodness! I'm so glad I did this.
But wait,
Um,
the bot and the whole thing, you're not the first person to say that to me. Okay, so first off, you thought just like everyone else, okay? That goes back to what you just said. So that whole experience, and for everyone listening out here, you could just one day receive a random message from myself or Heraclea that assists me that invites you to come on here because that's the way I do this. I just reach out to
yeah,
anyone within our industry because I believe everyone has a different perspective and wisdom to share. And this
so
makes
good.
me very
Yeah.
happy to be able to share your voice because Darius, there's people right now that needed to hear what you just said. They needed to hear you. They needed to hear what you just said about having take away the distraction, have the clarity. And to my point, you said yes to not knowing me personally. You said yes that maybe it was a bot. You had no idea. You didn't know if I was going to try to sell you something. You didn't, none of that happened, but you didn't know.
Hey,
You had no idea. But you said yes
yeah,
to it because you believed, you know what? What's the worst that happens? I waste a half an hour of
yeah.
my day. That's not so bad, right?
It's not no, and this was I this was great, Laura. I'm so glad that you did what you do, and it's something about just the talking like this. I it's great. I
Yeah.
think it's
Well,
there's
now all I ask is you now take this and you carry it forward to others. That's all
I'm gonna do
because
it.
we have the ability to be the change, Darius.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not going to be 1 billion people at a time. Maybe it's going to be 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then maybe 6 and maybe 12. Like maybe we start multiplying,
Yeah.
but it starts with us. And so
Yeah.
on that note, please share, Darius.
I
How
am.
do people learn more about you and about Get Wealth by Mortgage?
They can see or reach me through getwealthbymortgage.com. You can go to that website. That'll take you to my page. But and my contact information is there. I always I'm very approachable. I mean, I do have a team, but I like talking to people. Just I like connecting with people. It's part of my background that I think carried over into this mortgage space that helped me a lot. But yeah, you can reach me at getwealthbymortgage.com. And if you want to talk, just reach out to me there.
Appreciate it. Darius, thank you for sharing your insights and wisdoms with us. And we wish you all the best always.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you. Thank you, Laura, for having me.